Hey, what's up everyone? Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. Though that's not gonna last too long now because I'm about to get into something truly painful. Turd-flinging Monkey actually featured this article in one of his videos, and as I was listening to it, I legit could not believe what I was hearing. It had to be a joke, so I had to check it out myself. And no, it is no joke, and this is honestly one of the few times I regret not having a face cam set up because you'd be able to see the expressions of pure pain I'm going to be going through. The whole article will be linked in the description box below if you want to read it yourselves and subject yourselves to that torture, or you can follow along as I'm going over it. But I can understand if you don't want to. In that case, subject yourself to the torture of watching me play Blade and Soul poorly instead. Anyway, the gist of this article is they now have apps to take care of a lot of the stuff you'd normally have to do around the house. For instance, ordering food, hiring a freaking cleaning service to come in and do the work, the laundry, walking your dogs. Just about everything you can imagine nowadays, there is an app where you can just pay for someone else to do the work for you. And yet, feminists still find something to complain about. And from the very beginning, too, you know exactly what type of article you're getting into. Apps have become a popular strategy to split the household chores between couples, particularly heterosexual couples who want to share the domestic responsibilities rather than have them broken down along traditional gender lines. Instead of putting together a chore wheel or having endless arguments about the state of the bathtub or who needs to pick up milk for coffee, couples can outsource their work to a third party. So I have to stop right here and right now to point something out. We're going to get into the whole argument of who's bringing in all the money later. But for now, you have to realize different people have different standards. Let me remind you of a stand-up routine that Wanda Sykes did back when she was actually funny. At one point in her marriage, she was mad that her husband, yes, I said husband, she did used to be straight, but anyway, she was mad that he never did the dishes. It was always her doing the dishes. So she decided to get all passive-aggressive about it and went, okay, fine, I'm just not going to do the dishes again until he finally gets mad and does it. A few weeks later, he walks by her eating his lunch off of a napkin using toothpicks and basically just looked at her and says, like, why would I care? How do you think I lived before I met yo ass? And that right there is the perfect example of different standards. This whole line about arguments about the state of the bathtub, if you got a clean freak that insists that it be scrubbed clean every night, and a slob that doesn't care if there's an entire ring of lime around the whole thing, you're never gonna get rid of these arguments. Unless, and this is gonna be quite the shocker I know, if you're the one who cares, you're the one who freaking cleans it. If the other party doesn't care about the state it's in but you do, you clean it, cause you're the one with the problem. That would solve so many issues, wouldn't it? If you got the problem, you do something about it. What a concept. But that tangent aside, let's move on. This is where they start falling completely off the deep end. Seamless, Handy, and the galaxy of other apps haven't actually stopped women from doing the majority of housework or helped male partners understand how they casually enjoy the benefits of sexism in relationships. Oh, you see what I mean about being painful? But it gets way worse. Let's move on. I can kind of fit in my commentary on this with a lot of the following lines, so let's just go on. Women have long known that domestic labor can feel like a prison. Oh, sure, especially now, huh? Now that you no longer have to go out every day and harvest your own food from your own garden/farm and cook everything up from scratch every day, do the laundry by hand at the river. Man, clicking a few buttons on your phone must sure feel like a prison, huh? Especially if you're using the money your husband earns to do it. Again, I am wincing so hard right now. It's painful, but I have to keep going, man. You guys see what I put myself through for you? And Shekels, I'm not gonna lie, Shekels play a part in it too. I'm skipping through a lot of this, by the way. If you really want to torture yourselves, again, the whole thing's in the description box. But about halfway through, it gets to this woman who basically admits that she saves time by not cooking and instead using the Uber Eats app a few times a week to feed herself and her boyfriend. She has this to say: I'd much rather be lying on my couch trolling some Trump supporter I went to high school with than cooking. In all seriousness, it has made my life as a girlfriend to a man a lot simpler. What exactly does that imply, I wonder? At the very least, it seems this woman has a job, although it doesn't seem like a real one. An arts administrator in New Orleans. What the hell is an arts administrator? Maybe someone can fill me in. Is that a real job or just one of those busy work jobs? Definitely doesn't sound like the type of job that's going to destroy your body and mind as you do it for years on end. Like the kind of jobs that most men seem to have. But hey, doing the housework is the thing that feels like a prison. It's okay, we gotcha. But before I read this next piece, I need you guys to prepare yourselves. Put a pillow over your forehead because you're gonna facepalm quite hard. Here's what another woman has to say. I'm happy to do my share of the household chores, but only as equals. But it's not quite as equal as she'd like. She says even when she's outsourcing the chores, she's still the one in her relationship scheduling the app services and keeping a mental log of what needs doing around the house. Even though my partner is pretty woke, they use this unironically by the way, I find myself doing a lot of the mental work. I keep tabs on how big the laundry pile is getting, when we're running low on yogurt, etc. Oh my god, how hard does this poor woman have it? I can totally see what she means about this feeling like prison. Oh my god, I can't even. If I went down to some third world country where women actually have to make do without modern technology and read this article to them, they would definitely shed tears in sympathy. And scrolling down, they just whine a little bit more about household chores and how women are the ones that feel pressured to do it. And even when outsourcing it, they apparently do the majority of it themselves. Man, isn't it great what modern technology has created? These women are literally spending a few minutes of their day delegating their work to somebody else, like work that would have literally taken all day in the past, and they still complain that they have to spend those few minutes doing it. And then we get back to that Wanda Sykes skit. Part of me feels resentful that it falls on me because I've worked hard to get where I am in my career. But if I don't order laundry pickup or groceries on the app or get the house cleaned, it just doesn't get done. What did I say before? If you're the one with the problem, you fix it. Clearly your husband or boyfriend or whoever doesn't give a shit. His standards are clearly a lot lower than yours. He does not have a problem if the house is in that condition. You do, so you fix it. Simple. If you can't accept this, then maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship. But we haven't even reached the peak of first world whining yet. Get a load of this. Whatever stress that using these app services relieves is often replaced by the logistics of using the app services. Scheduling the laundry pickup, oh my god, I can't even imagine how difficult that would be. As someone who does my own laundry even, that sounds way harder. Planning for someone to be home to get the food kick order, or even keeping tabs on the budget to see when the household can afford those expenses. Dear Lord, how do these women manage this? That's like doing 7 full-time jobs at once. And then they go back to the prison analogy again. This is actually getting pretty old by now, to be honest with you. Okay, let's be straight here. Let's drop the sarcasm for a little bit. I, as a single man living alone in my own house, have to not only work full-time, but take care of literally everything around the house by myself. I don't have anybody else to share the chores with. And somehow I find the time to do everything myself and not just use some app to pawn the work onto somebody else. And still I have enough time to play games, watch anime, work on this YouTube channel, even while basically working for 2 separate companies, although luckily that's coming to an end here soon. So it gets a little bit irritating watching these feminists claim that they are somehow being imprisoned by these domestic chores when they're not even doing it anymore. They literally spend a few minutes telling other people to do it for them and they still complain. And then these women get old and end up like Sinead O'Connor and wonder how this happened. Where did it all go wrong? And for those of you who missed it a few months back, here's the cliff notes on what happened with Sinead O'Connor. She had yet another meltdown on social media where she finally realized that she was miserable and was going to die alone and cried about it. And this is a woman who's been married and divorced 4 times, by the way. She had 4 chances and she blew them all. Probably because of shit like this. And now she's realizing that she's old and alone and well past the wall and nobody wants to put up with her baggage. Now it all hits. But that aside, let's move on. I'm coming to this point where I think the only actual feminist solution to the domestic problem is to somehow share domestic labor. And this is where it gets completely crazy. She's literally pushing for full-blown communism right now. Because she continues, and I don't mean within a partnered couple, I mean within a city. Communal kitchens, communal bakeries, communal laundry services where everybody chips in and helps everybody else. Now, I may be stupid, but I'm not stupid enough to fall for this. I see what this is. This woman is pretty much just like every other person pushing for communism. She's lazy and useless and wants other people to pick up her slack. That's what's going on here. Even if she got everything she's asking for, what are the odds that she would actually be happy and actually do her part? Oh hell no, she'd find something else to complain about. And I gotta wonder too, how much does her boyfriend or husband make compared to her? I would love to see her man turn this on her. As soon as she cries to him demanding he do exactly half of the household chores, I would love to see him turn around and respond with something like, I'm gonna do half of the household chores once you bring in half of the income. That would be the end of the argument right there. 'Cause honestly, this stuff is easy. How do you split up the household chores? Well, the easiest solution is when only one person works, clearly it's the other person's responsibility to take care of the living quarters because they're staying there for free basically. Doesn't matter if it's the man or the woman who's not working, whoever it is. If your partner is working and you're not, this is your responsibility and 100% of it. If one person works full-time and one person works part-time, it's the responsibility of the person who works part-time. Although they do get a little bit more leeway to ask for help if they need it. If they both work the same amount, then it's up to whichever one of them has the problem with the way things are now. Again, the Wanda Sykes skit, I don't have to get back to that again. This stuff seems so simple, and yet it's so difficult for so many people. And these same drama-prone people wonder why I just prefer to be alone. What a concept. But the way the author chooses to end this article just takes the cake. Here's the whole finale without any of my input in between. For our lives to be better than previous generations of women, everyone of every gender is going to have to look up from our phones and have an honest conversation about dividing and conquering all the stuff we need to do. Otherwise, women are still going to be doing most of, if not all of, the work. Oh God, it hurts so bad. I don't think I've ever seen a better example of some whiny first world bitch. Who the hell is this woman? Okay, let me scroll up and read this name here. Margaret Ebby, huh? You know what? I'm just gonna call you Shrimp. Don't worry if you don't get the joke, someone in the comments is gonna be more than happy to explain it to you. So Shrimpy here has such a good life that she can whine about having to press buttons on a phone to get other people to do her work for her, and is somehow mad that she is still doing quote-unquote all of the work. God, it hurts so bad, it really does. I'm sorry. And she even has the gall to kind of imply that her life is not better than previous generations of women. Does this woman know what life was like for a woman before modern technology came around? When all the cooking had to be done personally, by hand, from scratch, from raw ingredients? When all laundry had to be done by hand at the river? When the farm had to be tended to? I'm not gonna lie, I've never had to live through that. But the difference between me and this shrimp here is I know how good I have it compared to other people around the world and people in the past, and I appreciate it. But that's too much to ask from these feminists, apparently. And they wonder why nobody likes them. They wonder why they're gonna die alone. But hey, you know what? At a logical level, I understand what they're doing. These are useless individuals who make their living being professional victims. They have to always be complaining about something, or they're basically out of a job. That's why the goalposts keep moving. That's why the first world problems they whine about get more and more hilariously, well, comical. And painful too, unfortunately. But either way, rant done. I think I'm gonna go smash my nuts with a meat tenderizer now, to kind of get my mind off of the pain of having to go through this. And again, if you don't believe anything I said here, the link's in the description box below. You could check it out yourself. If I had read something like this a few years ago, I would have assumed right off the bat this is just some troll, this is a joke. But as I've mentioned in previous videos even, our enemies are literally becoming parodies of themselves. There is nothing we can say about them to make them look like more of a joke than, well, they make themselves look like by just existing. What an interesting time to be alive. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.